Vazia had just moved in. A small rented apartment in an old house seemed a good option. Cheap, quiet, near the subway. Everything a lonely guy needed to live for the time being. From the furniture, a sofa, a table, an old microwave, and a modem left by the previous tenant. He plugged in his laptop, turned on the Wi-Fi. The network popped up with a strange name. Hashtag nets underscore not underscore should underscore hashtag. It's a joke. Vazia grinned, but clicked connect anyway. No password was required. The screen blinked. The browser page opened by itself. Black background, red text, flickering, as if written in blood. Connected, you are with US now. He tried to close the window, it wouldn't close. Browser froze. Then the laptop. Then the lights flickered. And then there was a quiet sound in the apartment. Not from outside. From inside. Like someone was breathing quietly next to him. He turned around, no one. Maybe it's the radiator, or from the wiring. Vazia thought, but just that very second, a notification came from his phone. An unfamiliar app had installed itself. A guest has connected to your network. He didn't realize that at that moment, someone's shadow was empty, black. Failing eyes flashed for a second behind his back in the mirror. The next morning, Vazia woke up with a headache. The laptop screen was still black, but now there was a new inscription on it. Signal sustained. Connection complete. He didn't remember falling asleep. The memory was blank, only a hum, as if someone had been whispering directly into his ear, all night, with the same words. We need you. You're here. You're part of the network now. He uninstalled the unfamiliar app from his phone. It installed itself back in a couple seconds. The name was a meaningless set of characters, but the icon looked like a human eye circled by a network of wires. The mood was getting darker and darker. He stopped going outside. He ignored calls from his friends. The connection was constantly dropping anyway. The Wi-Fi was no longer disconnected. The modem continued to work even unplugged. And every evening, at the same time, 3:03 a.m., the connected indicator in the corner of the room started blinking, although Vazia hadn't turned anything on for a long time. One day he decided to check it out. He got up and walked over to the modem. There, on the small status screen, among the connected devices, he saw, connected, guest, name, you. He did not have time to click anything. Behind his back he heard the snapping of fingers. He turned around. A black figure stood in the hallway. No face, only a gap, a void where a mouth should be. And from that void came a voice that simultaneously sounded like 1,000 voices superimposed on each other. You're not going to pass out. The session has just begun. Vazia screamed, but there was no sound. His mouth opened, his lungs squeezed with fear, but the silence pressed as if the air had become viscous. The figure was gone, as if it had never existed. But it didn't get any easier. He pulled all the wires in a panic. Smashed the modem against the wall. It didn't help. The network continued to work. The phone screen lit up without a touch. You're still here. We are. He ran out of the apartment, for the first time in days. But standing outside, looking up at the gray sky, he realized the signal hadn't gone anywhere. His phone vibrated in his pocket. The Wi-Fi was connected. One man walked right through him. Another looked directly at his face and didn't react. It was as if he wasn't quite here anymore. He'd gone home, or where home once was, walked into the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and saw that the reflection wasn't repeating his movements. It was smiling. We're grateful, it whispered. We downloaded you. He hit the mirror, but the glass didn't crack. It went soft, like liquid. The reflection's hand reached out and grabbed him. At the last moment, he felt his consciousness leaving, as if it were being pushed out of the server like an unnecessary process. And in the meantime, his reflection wiped his hands, walked over to his laptop, turned on the camera, and spoke. Connection successful. Next. The new tenant of the apartment was Timur, an IT guy, an introvert who was always surfing forums and chat rooms. He rented the apartment through a suspiciously cheap ad. Cozy apartment, stable internet, quiet. The internet was really stable. The network had a strange name, but he figured it was just a joke by a past tenant. Hashtag nets underscore not underscore must underscore hashtag. He connected. No password. Unsecured. I'll have to change it, he thought. A couple hours later, someone with no name messaged him on Telegram. The avatar is a black circle. The message was 1. You'll be sure you'll know yourself. He laughed, thinking it was spam or someone he knew was playing a prank. But after a couple minutes, the laptop froze. On the screen, a dark window with the text, "Pass downloaded. Transmission has begun." There was a hum from the speakers as if someone was talking, but at frequencies too low to make out. The bathtub turned on by itself. Cold water. It poured and poured. He walked over, and it wasn't himself he saw in the mirror. There was a guy there, looking just like him, but the look, completely alien. Eyes black as pitch. "Hi," he said. "I like you. Smart. We need that kind of guy." And smiled, just like Vajia. The network isn't just cursed, it lives, and it's expanding. There are over 13 people on the list of connected devices. Everyone is a shadow of who they were. Everyone is now part of the network. Have you checked your Wi-Fi yet? Timur locked himself in the bathroom. He tried to disconnect from everything, from the network, from reality, from fear. Turned off all his devices, broke the router. But the mirror still pulsed like a living thing. A signal was oozing out of it, visible, thick, red, like blood. It ran down the glass in droplets. Timur grabbed the knife. "I'll disconnect myself," he whispered. But his hand refused to obey. His fingers moved on their own, typed on the screen. "Update. Do not turn off." A voice came out of the phone, hoarse, unnatural, full of digital noise and thirst. "First you watch, then you boot up, then you break." Timur's skin began to peel like an old pixel graphic. Blood came out of his nose, then out of his eyes. He screamed, but the voice didn't come out. From his throat sounded radio static, a foreign language he didn't know but understood. "Transmission complete. Connection is tight. Blood file uploaded." He ran. The walls pulsed. Hands began to emerge from the sockets, wires wrapped in wires, with antennae fingers. They grabbed, scratched, tore. He collapsed in the hallway. Footsteps behind him. Someone was coming, splashing blood, leaving wet footprints. Timur looked up. Vajia was standing in front of him, or what had once been Vajia. Half of his face was missing, his skin like a hi-fi in a loop, constantly cracking and repairing. Out of his eyes was a red Wi-Fi signal. "You've upgraded, brother. Welcome to the network. Your blood is now the password." Vajia stuck Timur's antenna right into his chest, and at the same moment, the whole ceiling was flooded with red light. A buzzing sound came out of the lamp. New node added. 666 to go. The next morning, the apartment was empty again. Wi-Fi's on. The network was still the same. And on the laptop screen came a prompt. "Network free. Connect. Are you connecting?"